I'm Dave Rutter. Welcome you to the Wittser Wepeeler I Wish FIFA Would Be show. Dave Rutter, welcome you to the Wittser Wepeeler I Wish FIFA Would Be show. Okay, here we go. You undertake hundreds of interviews. What questions would you ask if you were interviewing yourself? I don't know. I kind of would probably ask all the things that I can't currently talk about, so a lot of stuff around online at the moment because we've not been kind of talking about that yet, but I'll be able to answer all of those questions in August, I guess. Suffice to say, we've done a lot of work there. Maybe one of the questions would be, why don't you just say everything right from the beginning? Why do you always kind of tease? I think it's because we like to tease. How close to the perfect football game do you feel FIFA 12 is, and which year is the plan for when the FIFA series will reach its ultimate goal? So I think this is probably the happiest I've ever been with a FIFA, certainly at this point of the year, and I think one of the things we've done this year is kind of go out and kind of allow people to play the game a lot more than we have done previously, and I think that's because we've got something special on our hands. We've never gone on a tour with career mode or any of our kind of game modes on show. We've always allowed people to play our gameplay at these events, but rarely a game mode, and we're doing that today, and I think again that's because of this being quite a special year for us, or at least we think it is. Beyond that, you know, when we finish FIFA 12, we'll be very happy with what we've achieved this year, but we're rarely happy enough to not really start pushing it again for future years. So we're lucky that we have such an amazing team back in the studio, and I get to work with those guys day in, day out to try and push the boundaries from what we can do, and we'll continue to do it. But I think it's as close as we'll get to a perfect football game this year, and you know, I hope everyone agrees with us when it comes out. Next question, will we be able to transfer PC user-generated content onto the console? So not quite sure what that means. Are you talking about things like Creation Center or hacking the database and including teams that aren't necessarily on there? Or?
More like back in the good old days of the PC when you used to create things like super patches and things. So there was the whole FIFA community grew up around that. It's whether we're going to see the reignition of that this year.
Not for consoles. I would be. It wouldn't surprise me if someone finds a way around it, but it's not something that we're actively supporting. I know a bunch of people have created patches for PC, and we can't help particularly because it's supposed to be a closed system. But the Creation Center stuff we're doing this year, which again I'll be talking about later this year, it's pretty impressive, and I hope people appreciate where we're going with that. Game changes. How do we ensure maximum value is achieved from a very enthusiastic and knowledgeable community dying to help make the game everything it can be? So I think these kinds of events are one of them. You know, there's two things. One, which is, you know, we do listen and read a lot of the stuff. We might not necessarily post or do a lot, but we get a lot of very useful information out of it. I was speaking to some of the guys in there, and they were pleased to see what we've done with Transfer Deadline Day this year, and that was something that, you know, was reiterated and supported when we were thinking of doing it on the forum. So it kind of makes us happy. The same thing as you know, the press tour, because it's a press tour. We go out and we talk to the press, and it's a great promotional tool for us to kind of go, hey, here's the game, these are all the cool features, please play it, and then they leave the room and go, yeah, that was great, thanks, really good game. This is a very different event, and you know, being able to talk to the guys about the why we're including some of the stuff rather than hey, it's cool, is very useful. And you know, a bunch of stuff that we've done in particular in career mode this year is based around that. Interestingly enough, we've put gameplay sliders in the game this year, and that seems to be quite polarising. Some of the guys in there don't like it, some of the guys do. And ultimately, when you're making a game that's appealing to a massive amount of people, some people like things, some people don't. But you know, we try and balance that as best we can. So, community versus press. How can we ensure the community reviews contribute towards the Metacritic rating of the game? So we don't have any say in what is and what is not included in Metacritic. I don't even know how you go about that, and we're not part of Metacritic, but it's one of the few sites that we use to aggregate our scorings. We also do our own independent one, where we use Metacritic as a company and then go around and scour the internet too, and you guys are included in that. But officially including your websites in Metacritic, I don't know how you would go about that. I'm not privy to that information. Questions from the community. I have, and my apologies in advance if I mispronounce any of your names. So, Zach Weinstein, I doubt that's how you pronounce it. I know how to spell Weinstein, but that's something slightly different. Will you be able to practice in the arena with your pro club in FIFA 12, set pieces, practice, etc.? So, regrettably, we're not kind of having an online connected arena, as we call it, the practice arena in the game this year. It's something that we've thought about doing for a long time, and I think it's a great idea, kind of using it as a lobby and allowing people to just have a kick about, but it's not something that we're going to have in FIFA 12, sorry. So, Gordon Davies, Gordon Davis, how has the emergence of community representatives from sites such as Sweetpatch TV helped shape the series? So hopefully the kind of community realises that whilst I might not be on the forums or on Twitter as much as I have been in the past, and that's a kind of life thing, we have spent a lot of time, certainly since probably FIFA 08 or the end of FIFA 08, talking to you guys and having events like this. I don't even know what happened at EA before I started work there, but I mean, I've tried to include as many events or feedback and talking to the guys as I possibly can, and hopefully that's somewhat appreciated, and we'll continue to do it. This isn't, you know, just a kind of one-off thing. Max Koyu, what makes FIFA 12 the best game yet of the FIFA franchise? What particular aspects do you think will make it that much more enjoyable for players to play it? So what I can talk about, and there's still a lot more that we've yet to announce, we've talked about that kind of trinity of gameplay innovations this year that revolutionised the game, and the reason I describe the player impact engine, tactical defending and precision dribbling as a trinity is that they're all like intricately linked. And completely changed the gameplay this year for the better. So everything from the ability to have very close control of the ball, to explore areas and opportunities on the pitch that you couldn't do before with precision dribbling, the rebalancing of defending to allow for a more engaging, more involved defensive mechanic in the game with tactical defending and removing those homing missile defenders. And then the player impact engine to kind of keep the flow and the consistency of the game really nice when those two things come together. Really help just make the gameplay feel very solid, very fluid, and consistently correct, which makes me very happy. Then there's all the work we're doing with career mode this year for a manager experience based around, you know, the things that happen in the real world now actually happening in the game. You know, unhappy players, clubs approaching you for players that you don't really want to lose, as well as you know, a new scouting system, new interface, tons of stuff, just literally tons of stuff in career mode this year. Beyond that, the EA Sports Football Club, I think, is a brilliant way of kind of having this universe around and within the game, that you're kind of having this heartbeat going along where stuff's happening based on your actions, you know, earning experience points and levelling up, seeing what your friends are up to, pledging your allegiance to a team and support your club, and then everything that you do helps them succeed or fail if you're not very good. And also the kind of live service element kicking off this year, where we'll take inspiration from the real world and push it into the game too in the form of challenges and scenarios. And as I say, live service, so we'll be keeping track of everything there and seeing how it goes. That's some of the stuff that makes it very special this year, and then we've got other stuff coming later this year when we're talking about it, which I'm sure will keep our fans highly entertained. So Sean McGinley, if you were able to design a new feature for FIFA 12, what would it be and why? So if I was to actually design a feature for FIFA 12 right now, I would probably be fired, because we're kind of finishing the game right now, and if I try and put anything in, which is why they send me off on these press tours, because I'm causing trouble back in the studio, if I was to do it now, it would probably fail. Because we don't have enough time to do anything really cool now on top of what we've already done. For the future, for FIFA 13 or something like that, if I was to tell you what I was hoping to achieve with FIFA 13, then I would probably also be fired, because it's a secret, and I don't want anyone knowing what we're up to until we know that we can do it and make a brilliant game of it. But a good question. Laurie Perkins, how have you ensured that with a new impact engine not all the players in the match get injured straight away, considering how easy it was to get injured in FIFA 11? So a good question, and I think what you need to remember with the player impact engine is it's all levels of collision. So in previous FIFAs we didn't really have a kind of nuance or a variety in many of the situations that we would want. So you might see a sliding tackle that looked quite innocuous, but because we didn't have the animation to show that it was actually quite a nasty tackle, then the player might be injured without you realising it. And the opposite side of it as well, where it might look really nasty, but in fact it was a very innocuous challenge, and you were wondering why the player didn't get injured. With the player impact engine now, everything from like a gentle shove right the way through to a brutal two-footed challenge can be resolved really nicely, so you have a near limitless variety of outcomes from those collisions, which means that we're a lot more capable of being able to tell what's actually going on, and we harvest that information and surface it out into the game to make sure that the injuries are accurate and the outcomes are accurate. So rest assured that you should be very happy with the injuries in FIFA 12. Espen Drange Jensen, will it be theatre mode on FIFA 12? If you mean, are we doing FIFA Theatre again this year? Yes, you'll be able to save your replays locally. Adam Ladd, how do you plan to combat discouraged quitters online? So, great question, get asked it a lot. Can't talk about specifics for online, but you know, we are trying to do some stuff that will help with that a little bit. Can't do a great deal about stopping people. I guess it's a problem in pretty much all online games, but we'll have some news about what we're trying to do a bit later this year. Luke Fox, if you were Heskey for one day, what would you do? I would give Sven-Göran Eriksson a quick call and say, hey, any chance of coming and playing for Leicester again? That'd be cool, although we're getting plenty of signings at the moment, so that might be a bit over the top. Okay, so Alexander Lucas asks, will there be any Facebook Twitter connectivity with FIFA 12? Not directly from your console, but if you want to push any of the information about EA Sports Football Club out to Facebook, etc., you should be able to from our website, easportsfootball.com. Go there and you can kind of push it from there. Luke Hindle asks, will FIFA be able to develop the game into 3D If you're talking about 3D TVs, we don't support 3D for 3D TVs this year. And then the very last question is, my favourite FIFA 12 question, as from the Sweetpatch TV community, is, drumroll, I'm going to go for Luke Fox, who not only has a cool surname, Fox, as in Foxes, Leicester City. If you were Heskey for one day, what would you do? A nice kind of rounded Leicester City fan type question, so I'm very happy with that. Thank you. Hello, I'm David Rutter. Welcome you to the Wittser and Wepeeler. Oh God, I'm never going to remember this. Wish FIFA would be show. Wish FIFA would be show.
Take two.
Hello, I'm David Rutter. I'm a line producer of FIFA 12, and I'm welcoming you to the Wittser and Wepeeler.
Bloopers reel.
This is not helpful. I got it right.
Yeah.
Hooray! My name's David Rutter. Back.